So the question is, what is personality? Normally, anybody would say personality is how we present to the others, how people perceive us, and they define us by our personality, which makes sense. So that is true. Personality is how we present ourselves. And we always try to change if it is not good according to our standards, or we try to make it worse, say, okay, I'm going to take care of this guy. So uh, everything changes, depends upon what thought processes we're going through. And also personality changes from person to person. You may be at your job and with your boss, you may be different. Then you come home and with your spouse, you may be different. Say with your spouse, you can get away with a little bit of anger or a lot of anger, but the same anger disappears when you go to your boss, for example, because that's where it's going to cost you a lot. And with the spouse, you can get away. At the end of the day, the compromise is going to be there, all those kind of things. But the personality changes again with the child, with your friend, you're different. So personalities are not just one. Personalities are variable, and it changes from person to person, and also for the same person, different situations, different timings. And what is the origin of the word personality? How did it come? It comes from a Greek word called persona. Persona means a face mask. In the old days, in the Greek, there was a theater which was very prevalent, and the theaters had developed with every actor holding on to a face, with a face mask. And that mask was supposed to augment the role that he was playing. Even in India, we have Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all those kind of things. So every character had a personality, and to define that personality more so, the masks were very important. And that's the Greek word for it, is persona. So personality is what we present ourselves. If you are playing a role in a Greek theater or in Ramayana or Mahabharata, if you are a Rama or a Ravana or whatever, your behavior, your actions, your role would be based on the mask you are wearing. And if you're supposing you want to do double role and you come back, you have to change your mask and play a different role. So why are we talking about it? What is so important about this personality, and what has to do with the spirituality? The spirituality says that personality is at your mind level, what your thought processes are, what your beliefs are, what your convictions are, whatever your fixed beliefs about one particular person, you will behave according to that. And to us, it seems like an everyday thing. It's not so difficult. You go from living a day-to-day life every single day. You may be very angry or very upset. Suddenly a friend calls and say, okay, let's just have a good time, and changes. Or your grandchild comes and then everything melts. So those different personalities at different time of the day, different time of the month, and everything is just keeps changing. And we never think anything about it, but it is very effortful, because you really have to be careful. And how do you deal with each person differently? Because you cannot interchange. Like I said, the anger with your wife cannot work with your boss. So you have to be very careful, even though you do have anger. Because you are capable of anger, that's the reason why the anger came out of you at home, but it cannot afford. So you're very cautious. So mind is continuously thinking. Even though you don't know that, at the subconscious level, mind is very swift. It does change your personalities as per needed and your previous experiences. On the other hand, if you're at the end of your job and you definitely have decided you're gonna change the job because you don't like your boss, that day you will not have any problem getting angry at him, because the end result is going to be the same and you don't care. So all these things involves a lot of mental processes. So a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas have to come up subconsciously. We have to adjust ourselves to different surroundings. And all this involves a lot of mental processes, whether we know it or not. So what is the solution? One, just live a life like that, and you learn. If you do make a mistake, you learn from it, and then you change your personality with that, say, apologize, sorry, whatever, and then you move on. But all these band-aids and wounds keep on happening because your ego is one kind, another guy on the other side is also holding on to his ego. Frictions happen, you learn, and you don't learn, and you make another mistakes. This is sansar. This sansar is very stressful. So spirituality says there is one more personality, and that personality is not even a personality, it is you. Through the spiritual process, you can transcend your mind, because mind is holding on to all these masks. It's holding angry mask, affectionate mask, trickery mask, cheating mask. All those things are there, and we are holder of so many masks, and each mask become changing at the drop of a hat. We change, but that makes the mind so big. It's full of so much information, so much ways, so many ways, cunning ways, smart ways to keep changing all the time. It requires a lot of megabytes, a lot of kilobytes, whatever, terabytes. Hold on to our mind. And that's why we sit down to meditate. Meditation doesn't happen because we are complicated. Our mind is not just one. It's a mixture of so many personalities. And that makes meditation very difficult. And that's why spirituality says, let go the mind. Saying is easy, doing is not that simple. We hold on to this thing because that's the only thing we know. That's why you need the courage. You have to realize that transcending the mind is not easy, because mind, body, and sansar, this is all we know. And that's why we have a complicated life. To simplify, we need to rise higher, because mind means duality. Duality means you and I are separate. Me and my boss is separate. Me and my spouse is separate. All this separateness requires several different ways to deal with each one of those. And all those things is very complicated. So transcending the mind is the most important thing, because sansar, the physical sansar outside, is full of duality. To deal with it, mind also has become dual. And dualistic mind can never have peace. It always has to stay awake and alert, that you don't put down the wrong persona in front of the wrong person. Otherwise, you will be facing a lot of consequences. So that's why the spirituality says, learn how to go beyond the mind. Meditation, of course, is one approach where you just observe your mind with all its complexities, with all its cunningness, trickeries. You like it or not, whatever your faults have been, whatever, just observe. Because observing anything is effortless, because you're just watching. Like a colonel is watching the parade of soldiers. He's not picking up on one soldier here and one soldier there, who is my nephew, or, oh, this guy, I fought with him in the war. Nothing. He's just watching it, a parade of soldiers. The same way meditation is all about watching the parade of thoughts without getting attached to them, because that's exactly what we want to escape from. And escaping is not running away. There are no complicated ways to run away from it. There is a simple way. Anything with Atma, anything with the soul, has to be very simple. Mind is all complicated. Everybody comes and tells you, focus on this, do on that, don't do this, don't do that, do this. Then you will, doesn't happen, because you're listening to your five senses, absorbing through your five senses, putting into the mind, and the mind is holding on to it. When you sit down to meditate, all you care is about the instructions which were given to you. No, observe. Simple, without any interference, without any judgment, without any attachments. Just observe. So observation eventually, little by little, takes you into a zone, because eventually you realize, you ask yourself, Where is this awareness coming from? You want to find out the source of it. When you try to go back, there is nothing there. It's pitch dark, but you don't know where the awareness is coming from. So what you do is you fold the awareness instead. I mean, this, I'm making it easier, but this happens over several months and several years sometimes. Instead of being aware of the thoughts, you start becoming aware of your awareness. And awareness is homogeneous because it's spirit. There are no divisions. It's infinite. Spirit cannot be divided. So in that spirit, the spirit itself, the awareness which is part of it, folds onto itself and goes into a peaceful mode. And in that peaceful mode, you start realizing the mistakes of your mind, how it was being cunning with somebody, being angry with someone, and being tricky with this one and this, and hide and lies and all those things. And you are away from it into a zone of divinity. And that's when what happens is eventually you become the consciousness. It's formless. You have a body, you have arms, and you have a head and eyes and everything. So you adopt a new body, the body of consciousness. All these things are happening within. So my instructions are not going to help you. You have to go through on your own. And when you do that, this vast consciousness becomes your body. You become the cosmic person, if you want to call that a person. You are infinite, you are infinite, and your arms are stretching forever. Your awareness becomes your head because you're fully aware at your Ajna Chakra level. That's what you're used to. And all this thing creates a new personality, so-called personality, that you can project to anyone. Why? Because at the consciousness level, it covers everyone. Everything and everyone falls under the umbrella of the consciousness, because everybody is conscious. You are conscious, an earthworm is conscious, a bird is conscious, your boss is conscious, your wife is conscious, everybody is conscious. And even unconscious stones and suns and mountains and rivers, everything falls under that because it's infinite. All the finite falls into it. So now the personality that you develop, that has no greed, because how can you have a greed when you own everything? Kind of own. You touch everything, you connect with everyone. So your desires are gone, your hatreds are gone, your trickeries are gone. You come with the total truth of divinity, purity. And that develops a unique personality that you can utilize for everyone. You can utilize that with the child because you're approaching with honesty. You're not going to lie if you don't know something, which we do all the time. We make up answers, all those things, but we are not going to do that. If you don't know, you're going to say, I don't know. Same thing with the boss. If you do not know something, you be honest. Honesty will be always there. Same thing with the spouse. Same thing with your child. So then you will have one single personality. Imagine the peace and tranquility that you will have, that you don't have to go keep changing the personalities. So that's all for today. Let me stop the recording.